All right, folks, thank you for joining me again this beautiful, beautiful Saturday, January 18th, 2025. Your outpost on the West Coast here. This is going to be another, not maybe long, maybe one or two parts, boring video where I talk a lot because we're going to just be sitting here uh, practicing the art of patience and practicing the art of moving at a snail's pace. We're going to be working with decals. We're going to start getting into the more tricky parts of it. We'll see how far we go with this episode. Either it's a one long video, or maybe two parts, two videos. So let's get started. No music today. Let's jump straight into what we got to do. We'll cut away. We'll do what we got to do off camera. We'll come back, kind of set it up, kind of speed up the process so it doesn't seem that boring. But this is although many who are not dedicated painters or decalers or just dedicated to the hobby in terms of your curiosity, you want to learn everything, you want to check out everything that's going on within the beautiful hobby of old skill that we all love and enjoy. And I don't blame you guys. Watch maybe the first 5 minutes and then watch the last 5 minutes and you're good. But what I'm trying to do here is I did not become the best modeler I can be anyways. And thank you for everyone who gives me compliments and comments on my channel and stuff. And I'm not going to ask anybody to subscribe. You do that if you feel this is your thing. But if you do enjoy the content, go ahead and hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Doesn't cost you anything. And it just allows for YouTube's algorithms to pop my video up to new people, and hopefully we get new people. We get new membership back into the hobby because our hobby is suffering really bad from membership right now. So if you don't like what I say or what I'm doing, or I'm not your cup of tea, but you love the hobby and you maybe promoting mine and others' videos right here on YouTube just to see if we can draw new members in, you got to hit that like button. Otherwise, the hobby flounders and dies. It's just that simple. The hobby that I grew up with, spent all my life with, will wither away like coonskin hats and slot car racing. Right? Anyways, let's get into this real quick. Like I said, long, slow, purposely done video. I mean, I'll try and bring up highlights about Ed Alexander and other stuff, but if you're going to get into deep painting, or you'd like to improve your painting skills, or you want to try it for once, or you want to get back into it, but there's a lot of you need to dust the rust off of the bone, so to speak, like I had to here a few months ago, up until I met John Lyon through YouTube. This was all ancient history for me. I have not done anything like this close to 15 years, if not longer. I kind of had to walk away from the hobby and dedicate myself to raising a little family here, like you guys, you ladies and gentlemen watching this. But anyways, although it's long and boring and not exciting, this is the make or break part of your painting process that's going to make the model that you finally assemble and show everyone, or give it to your customer, or put it on eBay to sell, or on your table, or whatever, run down at the club. This is the part. If you screw this part up, the model will never look like you envisioned in your head, and you'll never be satisfied. And people will notice. They say, "Oh, yeah, it's okay looking model," but to themselves they say, "Oh man, he did a horrible job there on the lettering," or whatever, something like that. So if you want your model to look satisfactory for you and for others, I'm gonna say great, just satisfactory, like me. I actually was an operator, a runner, for many years, and then I became a dealer where I was buying and selling, and I didn't run anymore. Then me and Ed Campbell kind of just said, you know what, let's just sit down and build one of a kind models, just that unique thing, or do something for a good friend. Just, and to do that, to pull that off, to pull this off here. And this is why I'm filming this, even though I know it's long and boring and you guys are going to bail. There's a reason why I'm filming this, and you guys are going to get what I'm about to say. The few of you guys are going to get, in order to pull off a good decal job where you're going to have satisfactory results for what I just talked about. You have to, I don't give a hoot what anybody says. You have to slow yourself way down when you get to this part. And that's why these decaling video episodes are boring as heck to you guys. I even had a few subscribers bail out, unsubscribe to my channel like I predicted, because it is boring. I'm sorry. I'll have a movie on in the background, you know. We're gonna be playing John Wayne's Green Berets. You have to have something in the background because you'll go nuts. It really is boring. But if you don't slow down for this part, I can't guarantee you guys many things, but I can guarantee you the following. If you don't slow down for this part, your model is not going to come out satisfactory in the least. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have sloppy decaling, letters, stripes, all that good stuff. So this is the part where all that painting, all that body work, all that TLC, this is the part where it all ties in together. And if you got your stuff together, you slow down. And when I say slow down, guys, I mean literally slow down. Slow down to a snail's pace. So what I was about to say is the following. Yeah, I talk a lot, but listen to this. I did not become a better modeler, painter, builder, whatever you want to call it, in anything, model railroading or armor or model planes and stuff, where I could make videos on YouTube and have a lot of guys follow me and a lot of great comments and stuff, or models that I can sell easily, and ask good money for it, and have people actually want them. I got models going all over the world all the time, or used to. That didn't happen until I finally forced myself. And you're right, it's boring. You have to force yourself, literally force yourself to slow down to what's unnatural really for human beings, other than if you're a brain surgeon, to slow down to a snail's pace. That's the only way you're going to get to that nirvana you're looking for in model building. Anyways, enough of that. Take it for what it is. Like I say, don't like my stuff. What I got to say, you can change channels, bail out anytime you want. Unsubscribe, that's fine. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and finish up our number boards here. This thing came out excellent. I don't know how it looks on camera. I do have an overhead setup, as you guys can tell. I actually have a lot of setups here in my little studio workbench, this corner of my shop that I dedicate. I got another workbench right here to my right where I do more building, no filming. That right there is building. And this here I dedicated for my building / filming thing. So it's all set up kind of interesting. We will be sitting down. You might see the top of my head, my long hair. I apologize about that. I'll try not to get in. This is a new angle type thing of filming. I'll kind of look at the camera every once in a while to see if I'm not blocking anything or stuff like that. Maybe if I do it like this. Okay, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We already cut out our numbers. Oh, this is interesting. All right, let's just play along here. Mejia, Florentino Rebuilding Company. We cut out our numbers. We lucked out on the microscale decal sheet. You guys will know what I'm talking about. Don't we just love when the numbers we have to use for our locomotive or our freight cars, we luck out and two are paired together. Sometimes you get the triple trifecta when three of your numbers, 3 out of 4, are paired together. Just makes life so much simple. Our locomotive here is Pennsylvania 440 is number 1223 in real life. And guess what we got? We got 12 on one pair together and 23 on the other. That just makes life so much easier, right? Otherwise, you'd have to grab your decal sheet and go in here and cut all these little things with your X-Acto knife. Got to use a X-Acto knife with a brand new blade, and cut out each individual little square and pop them out, this and that. And you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Because even on this decal sheet here, I got to see how to move, man. So opposites, I got to move opposites. So okay, opposites. So you can tell because I've been doing it here on this sheet. So if you're not familiar with these little things on your decal sheets, when you come across decal sheets with all these little things pop out, it's because some modeler's been doing some heavy duty painting and decal work. Anyways, also we're going to try and outline the on the real locomotive here. The doors on the front of the cab are outlined. We're going to try and go ahead and do that today. Microscope did not provide decals for that, so we're going to go in here and cut out one of these gold pinstripes to the correct length so we can outline those doors. And for doing something like that, guys, I'm sorry, but your calipers are your best. Your calipers and a sharp hobby knife are going to be your best friends. That's the distance. I already measured the doors, so that's what we'll measure. Keep in mind, this is hand-built, totally hand-built. I won't say scratch-built because the parts already came in the box, but it's kind of scratch-built in the terms that your dimensions on either door, trust me, are not going to be the same from one to the other. And that's the beauty of a hand-built, one-of-a-kind, almost scratch-built. But in this case, pretty damn close to scratch-built because all the parts were thrown in a box for you, as opposed to you building them. Let's see here. Anyways, welcome to Florentine Rebuilding Company YouTube channel, right here on YouTube. Let me explain to the new viewers what's going on. This is a model of a very, very extremely rare and hard to find. One of the early locomotive kits or built-up models offered in O-scale. This model came out more or less around 1934 from people who are in the know who passed along the information to me. That same person, I think I talked to, well, anyways, he told me that about 16 of these may have been only built or offered for sale. And we got this one here, came in, happened to land on our workbench here from out of the blue. And she's a 90-year-old O-scale national treasure. And we're going to get her running and looking like $1 million here pretty soon, thanks to your guys' support, kind comments, subscribing, hitting the like button and stuff. It pushes me, it pumps me, and it pumps the owner. It pumps us up that you guys are enjoying this. Let's see here. Okay, so we saw how we applied this the last episode. We're going to do basically the same day. We'll put the number 12 on there. Let that dry a little bit, because when we put number 23, the other last two digits next to it, we don't want to add more. Well, we have to add more either water or decal setting solution to float it in place, but we don't want to activate so much of the original one we put on, because that will lift up, and now you got to work with two pieces that are floating in place. Let the first one kind of dry a little bit, and then dry for about an hour would be great. But and then kind of move this one up next to it and kind of do the adjustments so they're nice and straight, and they'll dry perfectly even with beautiful results. Kind of like that. Also, we're going to do for John, but we're not going to do that today. He requested his bell to be nice brass color, which of course all bells should be, except on my steam engines here on the SP and Santa Fe. I usually paint my bells pretty black. I don't keep them nice and chromy. But we'll paint the inside of his bell a nice reddish color. Let's see here. We can paint that first window kind of like a reddish color also. We can also add that little window sash down the middle. All sorts of little things which I'll discuss with the owner here. I did lose my phone. The phone I was using to film here, it broke. In terms of, I guess the screen died. So literally it's just black, a black screen. I can hear it function. I can't retrieve any data from it, any phone numbers and stuff. So I lost a lot of phone numbers and contact info. So, and videos, I guess, but but they're on YouTube at least. But and I film them for you guys. I don't talk about monetization and all that good stuff. Don't interest me. This is really just for old scale and for you guys. I could care less about fame and fortune and becoming a YouTube influencer. anyways, let's get started. And let me set up and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let me clip this microphone on my lapel. All right, so a couple quick tips might help you out, maybe not, or you guys probably are already using these tips or some form of it on your own anyways. Definitely, you want to have a nice supply of toothpicks. You definitely want to have a nice supply of Q-tips, you know, kind of used to clear the ears and stuff like that. Extremely handy and kind of important when you want to get into this real fine decal work. These numbers are so small, the little paper cutouts, there's no need to dunk them in a tub of water, because you'll find after a while, if you're not on top of it, your numbers float away, and now you're playing fishing for numbers in your little tub of water there. And I put a couple of nice big fat drops of water on my workbench, literally like you see right there on top of my cutting mat. And I set the decal in there. And after a while, your decals start floating around, and make sure that all that glue gets out of there. So let them float there for a while. That thing's ready to go. So let's, now bear with me. Moving this overhead camera setup might be a little funky. So if you feel nauseated or air sick, it's because I'm moving the camera around real weird. Trust me, I'm feeling the same thing. All right, I'll try and steady it. There we go. Remember I mentioned that when building models, working on models is a time-consuming project, especially when you want to slow yourself down. Speed is not your friend. Speed is the enemy. What I was going to say is, if I didn't have to film for YouTube, this model would have been done a few months ago. Filming for YouTube, and I just use normal cameras, cell phone camera. Filming, if you're going to edit and you have all that good stuff, make even more professional videos, an extremely horribly time-consuming endeavor. So you got to have even more patience. Your customers got to have patience. Your viewers got to have patience, because it's just the way it is. You're not doing your normal modeling for yourself on the weekend. You know, it's Saturday morning out here. It's cold like crazy in my little workshop. I turned on my heaters, and it's nice and toasty in here now. But we'll wipe out the excess water. You hear that music? Well, what I'm going to watch as this stuff is setting, we're going to watch John Wayne's Green Berets. So let's just go ahead and apply this. Do minimal talking. You guys watch. Yeah, we won't play John Wayne for you guys. So, okay, let's goof around with this. Sometimes. All right. What did I want to say? Okay. So we got our little numbers. You can use the tip of a screwdriver or your razor blade. X-Acto knife like we're doing here. Sometimes I use little pliers, little fine, grabbers and stuff. Whatever you feel comfortable. There's no right or wrong. And even me, I can change different methods depending on the same thing area we're going to decal, just depending on your how it's going for you on that morning. Let's just say it like that. Get a toothpick out. All right, so let's put some decal setting solution in this case. Right, we're gonna need our decals to go, and these things just float off with no issues. So I hope that's coming out good for you guys up there. I can't see the screen, unfortunately. It's about 2 feet above my head, so I'm just gonna have to take because I was busy yapping, my decal started drying on the decal paper, and that's why it usually comes off in one quick, easy, fast pass. But as you saw there, we were talking a little bit, so it kind of started drying a little bit. If that happens to you, I would stop the decal application at that point and stick it in water real quick and reconstitute that decal so it's floating around again on your decal paper, so you don't have any issues like we almost did right there. So we're gonna let that dry before we apply number 223. Remember, it's wet. It's still wet. It's in position though. Keep an eye on it so she doesn't start to walk away on you. But if I were to apply the 1223 on here right now, that means I got to put more wet, either water, micro set, or my Salva Set 50/50. Don't use straight Salva Set on micro scale decals. You will destroy the decal, guaranteed, 100% each and every time. I thin my Salva Set down with distilled water, 50/50, and it gives me some playing time. But eventually, even if I surpass that playing time, which is just a few seconds, maybe about 12 seconds, it'll also start to destroy my decal, even with my 50/50 combination. Just stuff you learn as you do this throughout your lifetime. Yeah, I talk a lot, but listen to what I'm passing along to you guys. And I'm not scolding, actually, the way I talk. I'm a 40-year veteran of my career, what I do for a living. I only work with felons, with the real deal, guys. And there's a certain way you talk, and it's in me. I can't get rid of it now. My mom points it out. My current girlfriend points it out. And I talk just to the point. I'm not going to waste words or anything. And I don't chew out anybody, although it seems it does. But at the end of the day, you're going to appreciate it because I don't leave anything for interpretation, especially when you got to do something extremely important like what I got to do for a living. Anyways, if I were to apply these decals while this is still wet, and I got to put more wet stuff here, then you run the chance. Just another great tip for you guys. You run the chance of reconstituting this one, and it'll float away from you. So as you're trying to put this one up against this one will now start to flow away. Now you're dealing with, you wish you were an octopus and had more hands, because now you create a big floating musical dance floor. So let this dry for about, I would say 10 minutes. If you really want to let it dry like for an hour, that'd be the best. But in my case, we're good enough. We could do it 10 minutes. We'll apply decal setting solution to this, and then it'll float it off. So we can scoot this up against the 12. It'll be nice and evenly spaced, because if this was wet and we did the scooting up, we would push this one away. It's kind of like trying to herd a herd of cats, if you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, let's let it dry here. Anyways, those you guys don't know, this has been the full restoration 1934 product from Ed Alexander many years ago. And this is from people who are in the know, who know the history and all about the Ed Alexander and the early pioneers of O-scale. So what they told me, 1934 roughly, about 16 of these were made. Is the number I was given. So about 1934. How can we? None of us watching this were alive in 1934, right? So 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 I'm gonna talk while this thing dries, okay? So how can we quantify that? Those of you, I am an extreme student of history, anything history. I even like the history of how this toothpick was made. Just history fascinates the living daylights out of me. And so 1934. Let's use the New York Yankees. So this thing, Ed Alexander had a shop in New York. What part of New York? I personally don't know, but those in the know probably will let me know down the road. But let's assume it was New York City. New York is full of boroughs and stuff. It's enormous, like LA. So let's just say at the same time this kit was being produced by the fine gentlemen of the Ed Alexander workshop. Let's mention their names, okay? Let me look through all my literature here, because we not only show and teach old scale building, we also teach a little bit of old scale history here. And like the great, well, I use that term generously. Like the great Jerry Snow used to say, Florentino Rebuilding Company, old scale history. Anyways, here we go. So when the gentleman in Ed Alexander's shop, including Ed Alexander himself, put this kit, the pieces together, either they built it up for the customer or they shipped out the kit for a customer or for a store or something. That would have been, of course, Mr. E.P. Alexander, Mr. Frederick L. Holman, Mr. Albert Kelly, Mr. Oliver Haynes, Mr. R.D. Ward, Mr. Norbert Habel, who's the guy I'm most interested of meeting, or if I had a chance to meet and ask him questions. That's the guy I would have wanted to talk to, was Mr. Norbert Habel. We'll talk about the reasons why a little bit more into this video. And Mr. Lawrence Dunham. That was Ed Alexander and his crew that would put these things together in 1934 in New York. So 1934 in New York, what was going on while these gentlemen were hanging around in the shop talking women and talking about the latest escapades from Al Capone or whatever. But in 1934, let's just use that as a historical mile marker. 1934, the New York Yankees season was the team's 32nd season. The team finished with a record of 94-60. Now that's impressive, huh? 94 wins, 60 losses, yet they finished 7 games behind the Detroit Tigers. New York, the Yankees were managed at the time, still managed by the famous Joe McCarthy. Longtime New York manager. He managed during the golden days of the Yankees there, or the first golden era of the Yankees. The Yankees played their home game at Yankee Stadium, of course. But believe it or not, 1934, when this thing was put together and offered for sale and got was produced or whatever, that was Babe Ruth's last year as a New York Yankee. So Babe Ruth was still in a Yankee uniform in pinstripes when this thing was put together. Just down the road from Ed Alexander's shop. Okay, you history buffs now are getting now your ears are perking up. So 1934, the 1934 season, of course, was Babe Ruth's last season in a Yankee uniform, and he was released the following February. It's kind of sad. So, anyways, the Yankees finished the season with 94-60 record, 7 games behind the Detroit Tigers, who finished with a actually impressive record of 101 wins and only 53 losses. So Tigers were on fire. So let's go over here. We're set to go. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Now, I'm not trying to teach you about the New York Yankees. You know that, right? I'm trying to teach you about even Florentino Rebuilding Company has to slow himself way down and find distractions Um, we're going to dunk these numbers in our little puddle of water here that's directly on our cutting mat. Should have done that when I was busy talking, but I didn't. So I got to remember that since we're filming. We'll be right back. Let me pause it right here. Okay, folks, we're back. So apply some wetting product, whatever you want to use, water, microset. In my case, I use Solvaset 50/50, only and always 50/50. I'm going to repeat that again. If you do not, never use Solvaset direct out of the bottle with microscale decals, you will destroy your decals, guaranteed, 100% each and every time. So let's go ahead. Let's use this thing back here. So I got about 12 seconds to play with this. So you see why it was important to let the number 12 dry, especially when you only have 12 seconds to play. So what Solvaset does, and why, at least with microscale decals, well, it does it with all decals, but because microscale decals are so fine in terms of thickness of the decal paper, it destroys them. Works perfect with champ decals. Champ decals tend to be a little bit more thicker. Everybody loves champ decal. I absolutely love champ decals. Got a whole bunch of decals here. I've always collected decals. When the late Ed Campbell passed, and his family gave me all his decals, and I have a huge decal collection. So maybe I should get back into painting. I'm actually pretty damn proud of my decal collection. But I'm not going to cut away from this video, and I'm doing a lot of talking and time killing. Once again, I'm trying to show you guys, teach you guys the art. Not teach you guys, but show you that even me, a guy who does YouTube stuff, you have to slow yourself down. Find ways to keep yourself occupied. We're going to let this number 23 start to dry. We're going to keep an eye on it on camera. We're going to keep filming because we don't want that to start walking away from us. And you guys that do painting for a living or have painted a lot of stuff and decaled a lot of stuff in your lifetime know exactly what I'm talking about when I say decals walking away from you. So let me explain that real quick. So number 23 is wet. You can't tell. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the liquid decal setting solution is all puddling around the 5 o'clock area of the number 3. If you don't have this model sitting level, if you got it like at a tilt at an angle or something like that, with that puddle there, and you walk away to go answer the phone or talk to your wife for a bit, when you come back, you're going to find, because of the angle and the decal setting solution was at the 5 o'clock position on your number 3 there, you're going to find that your decal started to walk away towards that 5 o'clock position at the number 3. And you caught it at a point where it's already drying, and now you got a crooked decal. And you got to start. And that's where frustration builds up, right? All of us. Me too. And so you got to peel that off, or take it off, or repaint it, or strip it, or blah. And you lose 2-3 steps instead of gaining a step. So yeah, I'm leaving this in my YouTube video for right now. Let's try not to make this too long of a video. So what players were on the Yankees in 1934? So, okay, let's go around. Manager was Joe McCarthy. The coaches were Art Fletcher, Johnny Shuttle, Joe Sewell. Your catchers, the late and great Bill Dickey, Amp Jorgens, and Zach Taylor. Outfielders were Sammy Bird, Ben Chapman, Earl Combs, Myro Hogue, George Selkirk, Dixie Walker, and of course the great Babe Ruth. And your infielders, you got Frank Crosetti, Don Hifner, Lynn Larry, Tony Lazzari, and Red Roof, Jack Saltzgaver, and of course at first base, the great Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth on the same New York Yankee team when this thing was being put together down the road from Yankee Stadium at the Ed Alexander workshop by his crew of the gentleman I just mentioned. Isn't history interesting? New York Yankee pitchers at the time, various pitchers, different times as they move up and down the minor leagues throughout the season. Johnny Allen, Johnny Brokaw, Jimmy DeShong, Charlie Davins, Burleigh Grimes, Danny McFadden, Johnny Murphy, Floyd Newkirk, Red Ruffin, Harry Smythe, Vito Tamiles, George Uhl, Russ Van Alta, and of course the great Lefty Gomez. So that was the New York Yankees at the time. All that was going on. All those players, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig still on the same team in pinstripes, just down the road, a couple blocks down the road from where this thing was put together by those gentlemen I just mentioned. So let's call this part number 1. Let's end it kind of about right here. This is going to dry fine. She's already pretty much dried as we talked. That's why I did not shut off the camera. I wanted to show you guys there was no rush. There was no let's put them together and do. We're going to let that fully dry because we're going to work on in the next episode is, well, I don't want to bore you guys to death. We'll start one of those doors. If you can see that. We'll start one of those doors there. Hold on while I figure out this camera setup. We'll start one of those doors there on the next video, part 2, which I'm going to film right now. And I'll probably release this video right now. As soon as we're done, I'll put it on YouTube. And then I'll release part 2 tomorrow being Sunday, tomorrow evening. Also, what we're going to cover, you got some decal work on the front. We're not going to do any decal work on the cow catcher. We may put a stripe down here. But we are going to put some decal work on the pilot beam itself. We're not going to use the decals from the microscale kit or set that came for this Pennsy locomotive or any Pennsy locomotives. I'm going to go dig through my decals. I'm going to find gold striping that's just a little bit more thicker because we're going to put decals, pinstripes, one at least, on each one of those spokes on our drivers, all of them. We're not going to be doing the circles, the circular patterns on this particular run, unless someone offers decals to do that. That requires a lot of skill to get it right because they all have to be even. If one is slightly off, it looks odd as it runs down the track. So that's another level that few can achieve. But anyways, this is the end of part 1. I'll post it right now, and then this is Saturday morning, and then I'll post part 2, which I'm going to continue filming, but I'll post that part tomorrow, either tomorrow night or Monday, being a holiday. Anyways, holiday out here in California. You all take care. You all have a blessed rest of your week or weekend. You all take care. Bye. Ooh, how do I turn this off? Okay. Gotta get in here and do